And speaking of a strong economy, what about the holiday job market here in 2025? You know, we talked a lot about the job market on this channel over the past few months because it has been so horrible. And usually this is the time of year when you have a lot of seasonal hiring from a lot of different companies. People can pick up some extra cash and make some extra dough when they need it the most. However, a new report from Indeed, the job posting firm, using data through September, showed a disconnection between job seekers and employers. On the job seeker side, there are more searches for holiday work and indications that searches are starting even earlier this year than normal. Meanwhile, the employers have posted fewer urgent roles than in the past. Indeed also found out that seasonal postings are relatively flat from last year and even down year over year from years prior. So Indeed is saying that the holiday job hunt this year is going to be a lot more competitive than it has been in years past. In fact, Corey Stahl, who's an economist at Indeed, he says, listen, don't wait until we get until the middle of November when job postings typically peak, because clearly other people are thinking about it now. So if you're somebody who's looking to pick up an extra holiday seasonal job this year, Indeed's advice is to start looking right now. One place we know for sure that is hiring seasonally this year is Amazon. They're going to be hiring 250,000 temporary workers for the season, which is kind of ironic considering they just announced more job cuts today as well. A separate report from Challenger, Gray & Christmas also found out in September that there have been limited U.S. announcements for seasonal work so far this year, and they expect retail hiring to be weak, potentially hitting its lowest level since 2009. Every time I hear some sort of stat about the job market or the economy or the housing market, about how it's the worst that it's been since 2008, the lowest that it's been since 2009, etc. Like, what does that tell you? Do you think it's a coincidence that things are just as bad now, if not even worse, than it was then? Of course not. But yet we're still being told that this is the strongest economy we've ever had. And that goes back to what I just talked about in the first half of this video. The stock market is used as the gauge of how well the economy is doing, but it's not a real reflection of the average American household, not even close. And you know, the seasonal employers this year, they're facing a lot of headwinds like the tariffs, inflation, and also many companies are continuing to rely on automation and permanent staff instead of large waves of seasonal hires. And also a lot of companies have been turning to AI in order to automate things even further and eliminate hiring more people. But I still think this could be a good opportunity for people who've been unemployed for a while, because there's been numerous stories that I have covered of people who've been out of work for 6 months to a year. And even though it's a seasonal temporary job, a couple things to consider is, number one, these seasonal and temporary jobs sometimes do turn into permanent job opportunities. So there's that. But also, the other thing to think about is it's better to have work for 3 or 4 months and make a little money than to have nothing, isn't it? Other companies that have announced seasonal hiring this year are Bath & Body Works. Also, Gusto, the payroll company, says that you're most likely to be able to find a seasonal job right now in some sort of position that is in person, that is less affected by tariffs and can't be automated. So that's why you have companies like Amazon hiring so many people, because they deliver all this stuff, right? And we still need people to do that. So any job that requires a person to do is what you're going to be looking at right now. Also, other industries that are not impacted by the tariffs, like tourism and accommodation, basically hospitality jobs, that's something that's still being created positively month over month, even as of the latest job reports. Both private payrolls and government payrolls have reflected that. And people need this extra work, guys, because right now grocery prices are